So you've all watched the movie now.
Yes.
Some of you rewatched it recently.
I finished it about 20 minutes ago.
That's a tough day of work, Harry.
It really was.
Harry works very hard.
But then again, so did Carl.
Yeah.
Harry's wearing sunglasses indoors because his eyes were overexposed to pink light for about 2 hours.
Yeah, well, the glorious light of the film was too much for me to bear.
Pink.
Right. So
Load.
what are your initial thoughts about the movie?
Deeply Nietzschean.
I'm gonna. That's an interesting way of saying really gay.
Yeah, it is really gay.
Yeah, but I'm going to back this up. Carry on.
It's a vitalistic.
It
Man.
100% is, and I'm going to back that up.
Okay. Glorious bullshit. Absolutely camp.
It reminds me if either Monty Python or the Mighty Boosh directed a Batman film in a wonderful way. I haven't watched it since I was a kid, and I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed it.
I'd say this is at least the third worst Batman movie.
Okay.
It's
What are the other two? Let me guess. Dark Knight Rises and The Batman.
by far. There were zero lectures about white privilege in Batman and Robin. It was totally sincere, therefore...
It was not totally sincere. Fuck off.
It meant every one of those ice puns, alright?
Yeah, did they give Arnie a script?
No, so what...
I don't think they gave Arnie
wrote
a
his own
script.
What I
lines.
genuinely think happened is, if you go back and watch that episode of Batman the Animated Series that won an Emmy, which was Heart of Ice, which reset Mr. Freeze's origin, because he's not like this in the comics until recently. He does make ice
We're
puns,
going to get there.
but not that many. And I think that the direction was just, well, Mr. Freeze, his wife is frozen and he makes ice puns. Go ahead, Arnold.
I thought Mr. Freeze was actually the best developed character in the entire thing.
Oh, yeah.
He's the only one with an arm.
He's the hero.
Also, Batman and Robin in this
Tragic.
film, despite the film being named after them, are terrible. They barely do anything for 90% of the film, and they're entirely reactive. So yeah, Mr.
that's
Freeze is the protagonist.
Yeah, he basically is.
The one with the driving motivation, pushing the events
Right.
forward.
That's why no one remembers George Clooney from this movie.
Oh, he's
and
such a shit
He
Batman.
also wants to forget it, but
no, he
people
doesn't.
remember Arnie.
He's technically now the Batman of the cancelled DC universe. What happened
What?
at the end of The Flash is that The Flash reset time.
Oh, yeah.
The Batman was in the movie, was Michael
Why do
Keaton.
you know this?
Yeah.
Because
Why did you
it's
watch
really
The Flash?
I didn't. I watched the end credits. At the end of the film, he comes back to reality, and out of the car steps Bruce Wayne, and it was meant to be Ben Affleck, and they reshot it to have George Clooney. So technically, George Clooney is still Batman.
After all these years.
Right. So we have a reunification of the villains of the movie. We have Arnie with Uma Thurman here
He's
making a
about to
selfie,
winterize her.
making everyone remember this movie, whereas George Clooney want everyone to forget it.
What did he mean? What was that line? Winterize your pipes. What does
Always winterize your pipe.
What does that mean? That really stuck out in my mind. I was like, the fuck are you talking
pardon.
about, Arnold?
I assume there's some sort of protection you can put on the pipes to stop them freezing in winter.
Yeah, if you flush a certain chemical through your pipes, I think it prevents them from freezing when it gets too cold. And if your pipes freeze, it damages the metal coating on them.
This is
It blows
far
up the
too
wall just like in the.
If you
Sound
far
financial
too
advice
much
from Josh.
context
If you were a
for a
homeowner, you would
bullshit
understand.
Arnie line.
No. I think that is a thing that you do.
No, I'm sure it is.
It would have made more sense when you were able to own a home in '97
Yeah.
than to us now.
But I also don't think it detonates 19th century brickwork.
Well, I've
Well,
had to
it was
repair mine.
reinforced with steel.
But what I really love about this is that we're
Yeah, there's
talking
still
about
reinforced. No, it's clearly brick. It's a brick wall. What are you talking about?
this movie and physics. And this movie isn't exactly known for its respect
No.
for physics.
It's got a very interesting relationship with the concept of science itself, though, because no,
Batman and Robin is a Faustian film.
oh, I'm not even joking. Like, science is just a cipher for magic in this, right? Something, the scientists are magicians. They
Is this your first time interacting with comic books?
no, but this is like a really extreme version of it, right? I mean, yeah, science, okay, Bruce is gamma rays and stuff like that, change them into the Hulk or whatever. Yeah. But this takes it to a whole nother level. So it's literally got like Iliad levels of divine intervention, but it's science instead. And so the only people in the city who are of any note are weirdos who are in who are the products of science, which is essentially the product of like Zeus coming down and having sex with an ox or something, right?
Superman.
Yeah,
Thanks.
literally, like what?
Somewhat of a scientist myself. Wrong film.
The point being, like, everyone notable is like a weird freak who's had some interaction with science to turn them into a freak and give them magical powers. And so it takes on this kind of modern reading of like the Iliad, where it's like, okay, only these people can be part of the story. They're like named individuals. Everyone else, all the cops are incredibly useless. Like there's one part where they freezes like at the top of this like spiral staircase, and all the cops are running up. He kicks one, and they all just tumble down like they're nameless NPCs. It's just so, what am I watching? You know, but that's the point. The named characters are all like bright and attractive. They're literally like the characters from the Iliad. I'm not even joking. Like empowered by the gods of
I
science.
can't wait for the YouTube clip of this.
I know it's going to be good. I mean, I'll give you the Nietzschean reading.
You know what? I don't even need to take part in this conversation. I'm just gonna sit back, enlighten me, boys.
Right. So one thing.
How am I wrong?
So I think Carl is onto something, because this is what Joel Schumacher, the director of the film, thought would be the case when he casted Arnie. What?
I was just going to say, Joel Schumacher, who is a genuinely at times thoughtful filmmaker, who made Falling Down, which is a very well-respected film.
Another hero
Why are we
film.
acting like this isn't one of his success stories? Right? I honestly, I watched this today. I hadn't watched it since 1997 when I was about 14 or something, and I really enjoyed it.
It
good
did,
fun.
it did achieve exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, I was not bored at any point, and I genuinely belly laughed about a dozen times throughout the film.
I think there's now a new tier of films, right? Batman and Robin used to be what we would expect to be dreadful, but films now actively insult us to try and subvert our expectations. I'd rather an earnest effort that turns out camp and memorable yet still bad than Black Panther or Captain.
I think this was intending to be camp. There's, you know, the way there's like
You can't help it.
there's the
when you
division.
cast Jim Carrey as the Riddler, you're probably content.
There's the division of
Can't
films
help
that are like bad on purpose, where there's the bad by accident can be funny, bad on purpose generally tend not to be funny. This is the one exception that I think is bad on purpose and hilarious.
I don't think it's trying to be bad on.
I think it is.
I think you, Connor and Harry, you're wrong, and Carl is onto something, because Joel Schumacher said that he casted Arnie because he intended the role to be Shakespearean. He wanted to give a Shakespearean flair.
Everyone knows Arnold Schwarzenegger, Shakespearean actor.
Yeah, and
Yeah, Midsummer Night's Dream, maybe.
Hang on, right. So the question
Donkey.
the question really is one of criteria, right? What is the criteria of a successful film? Now, is it memorable? Is it compelling? Is it charming?
Quotable.
Is it quotable? Do you have a kind of investment in the characters? Yes to all of those things.
Can you suspend disbelief when he nearly boils Robin alive?
Yes.
I was with
That was
Mr.
one of the
Freeze in
best
this one.
parts of the film, when he's mid-air and he gets frozen mid-air and just kind of stays in
And then he
place.
slaps him up, and it doesn't break his legs off. He's a perfectly preserved, like resin model. Stay
I
cool,
thought-
bird boy.
I was kind of hoping he was just going to put him in the water and start boiling it, not stop and be like, "You failed me for the last time, Robin."
I love the way this is all played totally straight throughout the film. No one blinks. Everyone's like, "Yep, that's what happens. That's how physics works." You know, like
Mr. Freeze falling out and just firing downwards, but there's no giant ice cone. It just slowly lets him fall.
and when the ice gun is falling and Batman's just hold on to my belt, boys. It's like, oh yeah, this is gonna.
And then he just leaves them on the edge of a glacier and he fucks off.
Well,
And
that's
they're just like, "Thanks,
that's before the gun falls and they're hanging off. He's like, "You guys all right?" And they're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Brilliant. I've got things to do." It's like,
The pop-up rocket ship out of the back of Mr. Freeze's car.
when Poison Ivy captures Batman and out the bottom of his boot springs the bat hedge trimmers.
Yeah,
What is going on? What is going on?
click their heels.
Yeah,
like
earlier.
Dorothy from The Wizard
Yeah.
of Oz, and the ice skates come out. And all Mr. Freeze's henchmen have been hiding behind him for 10 minutes, waiting for the moment, and then they jump into action with ice skates.
Exactly,
and then
it's-
they're battling them using the poles, clearly generating enough force if they were standing still on ice.
This is why I said, look, this is basically a version of the Iliad, right? This is this is predestination, right? The gods have intervened, and Batman's gone, you know what, I think I might put the bat ice skates on today. And then the next day, I'm going to
With the bat nipples.
I'm gonna with bat nipples. I'm gonna put the. We'll get into the nipples and the form fitting in a minute. I'm gonna put the bat hedge trimmers on today, just in case. I might get captured. I need it on there, and that's essentially Zeus making something happen in the heavens.
Now I'm just imagining Bruce in the base, like picking up the bat hedge trimming boots, going like, "I finally got one, Alfred. Poison Ivy, she's a plant monster. I told you they'd come in handy one day."
Yeah, but you'll never use the bat ice skates. That's where you're wrong. Coincidentally.
So I want to say basically that Joel Schumacher had good reasons to cast Arnie as a Shakespearean actor, because this movie came out in
Hey, Arnold Schwarzenegger,
1997.
famous for his acting.
Yeah, because have you watched him play Hamlet?
What?
Have you watched him playing Hamlet?
But I've watched
Did he
him try
actually
to
do
deliver
that?
lines in English.
Yeah, and I have the video here.
Oh.
To be fair, in this film, they don't tell Arnie to play anyone other than himself. Right?
Exactly. He's
Which
so
is
good.
great.
Yeah. I mean, he even smokes an ice stogie. I can't be Mr. Freeze if I don't have my stogie.
My favourite bit about Arnold is from the Opie and Anthony show, where they go, isn't it hilarious how they give this Austrian actor whose second language is English, obviously English and American names. Like, when he's in Commando, his name is Chan the Matrix. He can never say John. Or like, what is it, from the Running Man, it's like Ben Richards. Arnold Schwarzenegger is not named Ben Richards. Come on.
Isn't he called Dutch in Predator?
Okay,
But that's at least half persuasive.
That's like-
Howie Langston in Jingle All the Way. Okay.
okay. Have you watched him play Hamlet? Because he is pretty convincing.
If you would like to see the full version of this premium video, please head over to lotuseaters.com and subscribe to gain full access to all of our premium content.